connection.
I know, let's have a look at that again.
My goodness, we asked for an exciting 45 minutes. We asked for goals and we got that. It was 2-0 at half-term to Spurs, and it has finished Manchester City 4, Spurs 2. 4 goals in 45 minutes. Michael Brown, an unbelievable second half of football for Man City.
Honestly, I was just laughing. I was like, what's going on here? I was joking this morning, right? I did a thing and I said, 3-3, you know, just like messing. But that amount of goals again, incredible between these two teams. City look like where they're going to go at half-time, wondering how they're going to make changes. Pep decides against it. Riyad Mahrez, second half. Wow, it doesn't get any better. I mean, entertainment-wise throughout, obviously Spurs played their part. They had a good chance, Rico Lewis, where it's gone off the bar, off the post, etc. And then just City just kept coming. And how exciting was it when it was that quick with that tempo?
Yeah.
And then the ending with that little dink of composure for Riyad Mahrez, I think topped it off and just settled everyone down.
It really was. I mean, it was a man-of-match display from Riyad Mahrez. He got it here in the stadium, and rightly so. It was 2 assists and 2 goals, but there were so many, Paul, and they came out almost like, you know, they'd had a firecracker up their backside, I guess.
They did. I told you at half-time, never in doubt. But they've done it so many times, and I bet you that was mentioned in the change room at half-time as well. The second half, the old tempo, with and without the ball changed. I'm glad you mentioned Rico Lewis there, you know, because that's at 3-2. That's big 3 points he's probably got us there, you know. But not just sensational. Everybody, Nathan Ake, I thought was outstanding. John Stones, Rodri, Gundogan. Great to see Haaland back in the score sheet as well, and Riyad Mahrez. It was unplayable second half.
Yeah, he really, really was. And Steve, how many teams do you reckon can do what City did there? To be 2-0 at half-time against the Conte Spurs as well. I mean, they're no mugs. But to come back, not only win, but win and do it in the fashion we did with 4 goals. Are there many teams that can do that?
Not really. I mean, that's why I sort of said at half-time, I said before the game, I really do think Man City will win the league. And that's why. Because, as you've said, you know, there isn't many teams that can go 2-0 down, you know, 2 late goals in the first half. It's a blow. They go in there. Obviously, the managers had a word with them, but that's, you know, character, resilience, togetherness. 3 goals in 12 minutes. That's what it was, you know, the quick turnaround. And to be fair, Spurs initially were shell-shocked. They did come back into it and they did have a chance, and they could have been 3-3. Obviously, Rico Lewis, it comes off the back of his heel and it's kind of the bar post, but it was a fantastic second-half performance. I think Tottenham added to that, I have to be honest, because of their, you know, the willingness to come forward. But obviously, defensively, Tottenham, you've got to say they made a couple of mistakes, but were absolutely punished. You know, when you've got Mahrez, I was just saying to Dickie, when you watch Mahrez, when he's running at you, you don't know where he's going to go, because he can go left, he can go right. He's got that chop, he's got the step over, and it must be a defender's nightmare. I mean, he scores the first goal. You've got to probably look at the goalkeeper. It's near post, although he hits it with some ferocity. The second goal's a great goal. Again, defensive mistake, but the composure and the dink as well. But a wonderful second-half performance. I mean, Dickie again's just mentioned the players. I think you could mention any one of them, really, and I thought they were excellent. You know, Aki, for me, was excellent. As I said, Rico was superb. But as I said, you can just go through the team. The manager will be buzzing in there. The players will be buzzing in there. I'm assuming the Arsenal fans will not be best pleased with that. But performances like that win your premierships, and that's a trademark of Man City and what they've done time after time.
I know you're saying Arsenal fans, Arsenal players would have been sitting watching that as well. And at half-time, they'd have been thinking, do you know what? And then they go and see that second half, knowing that they've got United and still got to play us twice, not getting their heads a little bit.
No. We talked about that. Sorry, Cal.
It's all right, Steve.
We talked about that as well because I think Dickie made the point as well. Man City know how to grind out a result. And the Arsenal players, and I'm not being disrespectful to the Arsenal players, they all of a sudden now thinking, dear me, they thought it was, they would have probably thought, listen, even if Man City get a point, fair enough.
Yeah.
But they've found a way again to win and ultimately win comfortably by 4-2.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's dig into them 4 goals then. And we said the first goal was going to be crucial. Also the second, but it came. I mean, I remember looking at the clock and it had only been 10 minutes, and turned to our kid and was like, "What 10 minutes of football that was?" First goal was key, and it was a well taken goal as well. Well worked, Michael.
It was well worked, and obviously you felt the tempo was going to come quick from City, and then ultimately in those areas it did. And I think it was the timing of it as well. Do you know, for me, if it come early, you sort of knock Spurs' confidence from developing into it. But I just thought there were some wonderful goals today, and I felt, Alvarez getting on the score sheet as well as a huge bonus for Manchester City in that support role for Haaland. So, I said it was a great team performance. We can talk about individuals, we can talk about goals, but the work really was the diagonal switch that come from Riyad Mahrez, which then ultimately created overloads, and then obviously the rest is history with balls into the box.
Yeah, and it was a proper poacher's goal, I think, from Alvarez to tuck it into the net, and then I think it was 2 minutes 5 seconds later, Paul, the second goal goes in, the equaliser. Again, I actually thought the build-up play to that was really well worked.
It was great build-up play. I think Riyad Mahrez has got an already. Take a lot of credit. He's made a great run from out to in. Sorry, and he's brought the defender with him. And it looks, and you don't sort of, when you look at Riyad, you look at his technical ability. You know, not necessarily him jumping into defenders and holding them off. And he's jumped in and he's got the knock. And we said at half time, if Erling Haaland's got chances in and around the box, he'll score. Yeah. And it was electric out there once that went in. You know, and you think, can we? But at the back of my head, I'm always confident, Kellen.
You are, I know you are.
Even when it was 3-2 and a couple of minutes left before Riyad scored the fourth, I'm thinking, I remember Tottenham in the Champions League in the last minute, going out to VAR. I remember last season Kane got into injury time after we just got back into it. So, but to score 4 goals in the second half like that.
I looked at Haaland when he's gone to head it, and I'm thinking, is it actually going to go in? You know, like he's up so high, isn't he? I'm thinking, is it going to go over the bar?
There, will it get underneath?
He's sort of got to come down, hasn't he? He's that big when he jumps, and like literally just head it into the roof. And I was
it was a beautiful goal, and as well for him was, I mean, it wasn't, as we said, it's no goal drought, not scored a couple of games, but what's that now? Be 22 in the league,
22 in the league, 28 in all competitions.
Wow, and he's not far off the Golden Boot score from last year. Phenomenal. Then of course we get the equaliser, and I think it was. I remember a moment after I think 5 minutes in, I think even just seeing Haaland was just saying that. Just calm it down a little bit. Now it's 2-2, and then in comes the main man. He'd had 2 assists and thoughts I want to get on the score sheet, and the finish from Mahrez was great.
It was, yeah. Like I said, as a defender, when he's running at you, even if you've got an idea of where he's going to go, there's still not a great deal you can do about it, because he puts you on that back foot by doing the step over, and if he does the step over, he can go left, he can go right. As I said, he's got the chop, then he whips it in. You don't know what he's going to do. As I said, when you're faced up with him, you're basically just hoping that there's somebody behind you to come and help you out. Ultimately, there wasn't. It's a great strike. I think, as I said, I think the goalkeeper will be a little bit disappointed. It's the near post. But at the same time, as I said, he hits it with power and pace, and it's past the goalkeeper before he really reacts to it. But it's a fantastic strike.
Perisic goes to go tight, doesn't he? The switch of the play.
Yes.
And literally, he just thought he'd got it. If he'd have stayed safe side, it's the defender where you go to win it, have the composure to wait. And at that point, he's back in Spurs, I think it was Davies, back into the corner. And then, because he can chop back onto that left, and that angle's good for him, he actually doesn't, goes right. And whether there's a touch, a slight touch, I may be kind to Hugo Lloris, but near post getting beat, he'd be disappointed with it, as you said. But I think it was well deserved from Riyad Mahrez.
I couldn't agree more. 3-2, and we've alluded to it earlier though. Crucial block from young Rico Lewis, who, by the way, in the first half I thought was brilliant, and Spurs were at him as well, but he kind of showed great resilience. And then that block, Paul, how important was that at that moment in the game?
It was huge because although we'd sort of went 3-2 up, Tottenham were coming back into the game a little bit and putting us in the back foot and looking as if they could hit us in the break. And obviously, at the time when I seen it, I didn't know whether Ederson had saved it. We don't know whether there was a couple of ricochets. But for him to get back in, for him to have the football knowledge as a young kid to get back into that position when he knows the ball's going past him, shows great mentality. Physically he's great and technically he's great. I thought he was unbelievable tonight, and he was dead in his feet when he was walking off the pitch there, and that's all we can ask for.
He just seen the danger. He got across and it literally flicked off the back of his heel, ricocheted up. I think Ederson was actually across as well, does really well. He'd made that mistake in the first half, but actually he'd got right across. Perisic back post is obviously waiting for it to go, but he recovered from the front right across and he was down as well. So Rico Lewis who got the block, but I do feel Ederson was in and around it to make the save as well. So it was a big moment of the game, that Kulusevski down that right-hand side with that space.
My brother also said to me though as well, now what we're seeing with Rico Lewis, not only as we've said, he looked like he's been in the team, since 2-3 seasons ago, but he actually, Paul, seems to be getting better now. I mean, every performance just seems to be more and more accomplished. It's quite, it feels the sky is the limit for him.
Yeah, it's super. We were saying when we watched him just how confident he is, for such a young boy. And it's not so the trust of the manager's obviously going to give him that, but it's getting the trust of your teammates. He's playing with world-class players, training with them day in, day out, and they don't hesitate in giving him the ball. They don't look at him and think, oh, he's 18 in a big game sort of thing and go somewhere else.
Yeah.
They constantly give him the ball, whether he's in full-back, whether he's in the middle of the park with people in and around him. They really... It
helps him when he's been involved in games like that.
Yes.
Rather than coming in and you lose 2-0 and then it's a bit of uncertainty. He's on the pitch and that change around happens. I think it's just going to build his confidence, and then the more games you get, then
last month he played against Liverpool, Chelsea.
Yeah.
He came on against Chelsea.
And then also came on in the game when Pep says he changed the game. And the stats here for this game, we can read you these for young Rico Lewis. 74 touches. He had a pass accuracy of 96.3%, 6 ground duels won, a shot on target and 1 successful dribble. His all-round game as well. I mean, I think I've asked this before, but we've seen Pep invert those fullbacks to centre midfielders. To do what he's doing at his age, Steve, can we overstate just how good it is and how difficult it is to do what he's doing?
It is extremely difficult, but I think one thing, he'd be in that dressing room now and he's with top quality world-class players and he'd be absolutely pinching himself really of like, wow, I'm actually in and amongst that. And Diggy's hit the nail on the head. He's got the trust of the players.
Yes.
They've got no problem whatsoever, giving him and trusting him with the ball. I think he's got to work on his percentage of possession or passing because it's only 96%. I think it could be a lot more than that. But the lad's done absolutely fantastic. As I said, I mean, his body will sleep tonight, but his brain won't because he'll just be going over the game and going over the game. He'll get no sleep. His body will be absolutely shattered because, as he said again, he was just like absolutely dead on his feet. For a young boy in that team, showed fantastic maturity and fantastic sort of ability. You look at him and you think, wow, I tell you what, he's got a massive future if he continues going the same way he is.
Yeah, so exciting for us City fans as well from Manchester, and he's a blue. We love to see it. Fourth and final goal, and Paul, you mentioned it actually. The Ederson mistake in the first half, he made up for it because, I mean, the Spurs defender won't be happy, but kind of an Ederson assist.
Technically assist, I'll give him that. But they said that at half-time, for all the good, sometimes there's going to be a little mistake in there. But he's got that in the bag. Look, the mistake's there, but Riyad's first touch out his feet and the finish is just, it's world class. Delicate little dink over the goalkeeper as he's coming out, and he's not just today. He's been fantastic the last 3 or 4 months. Riyad Mahrez, he's becoming again one of the big players that we look to when we're struggling a little bit.
Absolutely, and the stats again for Mahrez today. He won 5 duels. I thought his defensive work was great. 4 shots, 3 chances created, 2 goals with the assist as well. Although I'm giving him 2 assists, I don't know why we've missed an assist there. Although I was going to put him in my fantasy, didn't. Went for De Bruyne. Michael, how important that is that now? Obviously, we go to Wolves on Sunday. That's another 3 points, close the gap on Arsenal. The manner of the performance, what will it do for this squad? Because it is coming off the back of 2 defeats.
I think psychologically as well, Spurs, obviously the negative results I felt after the Manchester derby, how how's the team going to react, what sort of performance are you going to get. So huge confidence booster. Get that one out the way straight away. Spurs are coming up quite quickly. And then they're going against the Wolves side, who have much improved. Lopetegui, I've covered them on the last few times. Took Liverpool all the way in the week, so it'll be a tough game. But now I think it's just a confidence booster. You look to the bench, you can make changes as well on Sunday, but we're not to underestimate this Wolves side, who are much improved at this moment in time. Not really scoring too many, but creating and nice to the eye. So it's an interesting game Sunday.
Guess as well now, City, Steve, when we were talking before the game about City hitting their stride, going on that winning streak, it feels like, and it's very early on, but a performance like that could be the spark that hopefully will help City get into that rhythm.
Yeah, I mean, before you ask me a question, I'm actually thinking to myself that performance is something which can just sort of, all of a sudden, just give you a big lift. As I said, in that dressing room, they'll be absolutely buzzing because they'll have felt in the first half, we haven't done a great deal wrong here, and yet we're losing 2-0. And they know they've got to put on a super effort and a super performance in the second half to get anything out of the game, point even. So for them to go in after the game 4-2 up, that will give them massive confidence. As I said, the manager will be absolutely flying as well. He'll be so proud of them, every single one of them, because every one of them put in a great shift. But could this be the start of what we all mentioned at the start of the game? City are more than capable of going on 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 games on the bounce, win.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. And off that, Paul and Michael was saying it there, what will City's approach, do you think, roughly be to the Wolves game? You think,
They won't change. They won't change what they do or how they play. I think winning today, going into the Wolves game, for the crowd as well as the players, it'll be massive because they'll be right up for it. They know that we play before Arsenal, so we could be 2 points behind them. Them going into a big game, so they want to put the pressure on it as well. But yeah, again, they'll just take it game by game.
Yeah.
They'll go in. I'm sure there'll be a lot of changes. You look at the bench tonight, there could be another 6 changes on Sunday to freshen it up. So the players that are coming in will want to come in and do well too. So no, I'm buzzing with that tonight. I think it's a huge result.
I think psychologically as well, if City win the game against Wolves, and then when Arsenal play and they realise that gap has been closed dramatically, believe me, the pressure all of a sudden just goes up another little notch.
Yeah, and I mean, City deal with that pressure so well, Brownie. Maybe, and how do players go about dealing with that pressure?
These players are just used to it now.
Yeah.
I think that's the difference. They're used to it, they're not phased, it's a big game, it's just normal. It has to be a really, really top game for them to actually even have that nerves anymore. I feel they're just controlled and they expect that now at the Etihad and Manchester City as well, the demands that they have with the manager. And that's why they don't really feel it. So I think you're looking at Arsenal's dressing room, they're going to feel the pinch, that's for sure. There's games coming up, thick and fast, and I feel like it's all set up for Manchester City to go and take it. The middle of February, that's going to be the game that everyone's looking out for at the Emirates, and it'll be a fantastic leveller.
Yeah.
That'll be something I'll be looking to. But as Paul said, Sunday is the one. It sounds a little bit boring, but you've got to win that, keep the pressure on, and it'll change. That's a big second half, that.
Yeah.
Hopefully now, confidence-wise, belief, players getting more minutes, that sort of pre-season-ish type feel coming out of January, nearly everybody's up to speed.
I guess as well, actually, Paul, we speak about City's squad depth being, probably their greatest asset in, making a push for winning the league again. The players on the bench now, seeing that performance, I guess it makes them go, right, well, I need to, make sure that I'm operating at my best because they're doing that.
They all know as soon as Pep puts them out the pitch that they have to perform to a top level. They know that, otherwise they won't be out there. And Pep, he's not scared to come out and talk about players that aren't at the levels that he thinks they are.
Yeah.
So whoever's out there and whoever gets a chance, they know that they've got to play. One, how he wants them to play, but the level that he wants them to play as well.
Yeah. Gents, absolute pleasure as always. I've loved today's show. Thank you so much to Paul Dickov, to Michael Brown, and of course to Steve Howey. Massive thank you to you as well. So don't forget the EDS are back in action if you want to watch them. They're having a hell of a season. Some really tasty plays as well for you to feast your eyes on, so you can catch that. Do enjoy that, and we'll also be bringing you as well highlights from that on the City app the next day as well. And then I'm going to be back with you for Matchday Live Sunday. We take on Wolves. I'm going to be alongside Paul Dickov and Sean Gota. So make sure you come join us an hour before kickoff. We, of course, are the only people that can bring you that team news straight away, and it's not on TV. So for all your match build-up, come join us right here on Matchday Live. Thank you so much for joining us. And before I go, I want to leave you with this. We have a new documentary on City Plus. It's called Ballet on Ice, and it is of an infamous game that took place when it was a snow-covered Moss side. Two big teams coming together in the snow, and let me tell you, it was very snowy. We've had a little bit here, but nothing like that. So check that out. Loads of other documentaries on there as well for you to enjoy. Thanks again for watching. Have a lovely evening, and I'll see you at the weekend.
And here at Main Road come Manchester City for today's match of the day against Tottenham Hotspur.
We played as a team. We were a team. We were a unit.
Summerby.
That's why we had the success we had. We played for each other.
Not only were we effective, but we also put bums on seats.
They wouldn't be playing in these conditions today, would they?
Wearing tracksuit trousers. Don't blame me.
Oh, goodness me. Happy days.
I remember wearing my Paddington Bear duffel coat with the ivory toggles.
In those days, you had screw-in leather studs, so you could actually take the top part off.
Yeah, it's almost like playing with athletic cleats on.
They never really bigged it up like they were some heroes for playing that game. They just got on with it, which is, I think, for me, the most impressive thing.
Well, they just said basically you've got to try stay on your feet.
Yeah, well, Malcolm Harrison was that good and John Mercer. They had us believe we could walk on water at one stage. In fact, at all the stages.